Hi, thanks for spending some time with me again today. This is number 27 in the Melodious Etudes for Trumpet book, another one of the Bordogni vocalises. And this one's a little different. I'll play it for you, and then there are several things that I want to point out, suggestions for your work, things you can explore musically. So let's go get to it here. Well, that was an interesting one. Let's look at a couple of things in that etude. They're getting a little longer now. Some of them are a couple of pages of music and a little bit more extended playing, and that's good to practice. But let's say you're comfortable getting all the way through. Then you can start working on the details. Obviously, the first thing you notice from this is it's kind of like a deliberate march tempo. At least that's what the editors have suggested here. I don't know if I'm playing close to their tempo marking. I'm probably somewhere near it. But it's really, it always comes back to a matter of the feeling of the right pace. And this could be a little heavier, a little more held back, or it could be kind of running along. That's a different kind of musical expression. You can explore that. Again, as I've said many times, play things at many different tempi and notice how it feels different and what kind of technical challenges that you run into from doing that. Okay, right at the beginning we notice that there's articulation, and that's interesting to me because these are vocalises, these are vocal etudes. So how would a singer do this? And as I thought about it, I realized, oh yeah, they might go la 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 la, which would be legato. So, da, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Okay, la la, la la la. Or they might do something with consonants, you know. Da 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 da. And this would be good, like, practice for pronouncing words. My guess is that Bordogni had his students do a lot of different things with different consonants and different pronunciations on this. I could be wrong about that, but we need to be thinking along those lines. So what can I do with it? Well, another articulation might be da 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 da. There's something really important for trumpet players in here. When a singer da 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 la 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 da 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 la 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 da 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 da, when you're doing that, you're sustaining tone the whole time. Obviously, the separated ones da 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 dum da 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 dum da 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 dum. Okay, that's something to explore. How short can you play it? How smooth can you play it? What is the character? That's what I always come back to, of the articulation. Now, as you listen through, you may have heard I would work more on improving the articulation, not because I necessarily had a different idea. I might do something very similar, but it wasn't consistent. In other words, the sound of every 16th note wasn't consistent. Now, consistency, as someone has said, is the hobgoblin of small minds. In other words, you can get stuck. Oh, it has to be consistent. Everything has to sound the same. And that can be a little bit anti-musical. But I think you understand what I'm saying. If I have ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, instead of da-da-da-da-da, obviously that's something I need to listen for. And that's the best way to work on it. Just listen carefully, listen to recordings of yourself, and you can make those corrections. So go ahead and try. Just to work on the articulation. Listen to that. And I think you can hear when I'm doing it, it's like I'm doing it with the voice. I'm not going da 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 da, I'm going da 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 da. So I have tone all the time. Let the air get through the notes. Relax, open up, do it like singing. That's why we're playing these little vocalises, because they help us to imitate the first instrument, the human voice. Okay, other things. Sometimes people will have trouble with a shift. I had a little trouble. I wasn't totally comfortable with it. So those downward octaves can be difficult. That's where you take that idea, oh, I have trouble with downward octave slurs. Make an exercise out of it, or find exercises that you can use in the Schlossberg or the Arvin book, whatever, and just practice that particular skill until you start to figure out how to get more comfortable with it. You might want to use a tuner here, because when most people change registers, the pitch center can kind of shift. We tend to play sharp in the upper register and flat in the lower register. That's really, really key when you're working on orchestral stuff. So keep that in mind. You obviously use a tuner to help you with that, or a drone pitch to help you with that. Something that people often overlook, trumpet players often overlook, but other musicians don't necessarily overlook, is phrase. So I'm just going to play through the first phrase quickly. I'm sure you heard it. So there you have the first two phrases. Now those are bigger sections. I play them fast, so it's easier for me to think of the whole sentence instead of getting stuck on the individual notes or the individual bars. Because the rhythm is very insistent here, and it draws a lot of attention. Da 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 da. It's like woo. That's got a lot of energy in it. But I want you to listen. I'm going to try and play it. You can go back and listen to the performance, such as it was, of this earlier. And you'll probably hear some of these things, I hope. You hear how I'm making a shape with the long notes? If you think that, if you're paying attention to that, if you're doing it on purpose, that's the key. This is going to totally change the way you play. Now I'm going to go back and try. It's very difficult for me because I don't think that way, but I'm going to try and play it without without showing any phrase. And you hear a lot of trumpet players playing that way. And see, that's not bad, but there's something missing. There's a sense of shape, which gives a sense of direction in the phrase. And it also is an increase of intensity, and there's a release of musical intensity. The intensity, the way I just played it, to me is more flat. And that's a musical expression. It's not like everything has to be romantic and, have beautiful shapes and everything. No, it's a matter of musical expression. Sometimes the shape should be flat. That tends to be more strict feeling, a little bit threatening sometimes, more command, more, you get the idea, I think. Okay, so really pay attention to those longer phrases. They're just very simple, but you need to see them and do them on purpose. There's something else that a lot of people miss, and that is the releases. Now, mostly we're playing continuously, but at the end of every phrase, so the release is a continuity. You're releasing into the rest. There's a rhythmic energy to it, and there are musical decisions to be made that affect the character of the music. It's those transitions into and out of the silence are some of the most important things in music, and we generally pay attention to when we're making sound and not how we get into and out of the silence. It's critically important. I'll say it over and over again. It's a listening exercise. This is what you want to do. How am I going to do the release? I can do it a lot of different ways. Now if I have a more abrupt dom, 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 that abrupt release, it's still open. I didn't cut it off. Da, da, I didn't cut it off. I left it open, but I stopped the air very quickly. Ah, ah, and the energy went right to the rest. I didn't taper it all. See, that's one way to do it, and it has a different musical expression. These are the things to listen for. I think I tapered it a little bit when I played it, but not much. And when? Am I tapering through the whole note? Am I waiting till the end to taper? You see how detailed this gets? But that's because there's a tremendous amount of musical expression in these little details. They have an unconscious effect on the listener. Even someone who doesn't have any, music study, any background in music, it's a human thing. We're all affected by these sounds, and we as performers need to take advantage of that fact. So please listen for releases when you're listening to music. You don't get a lot of that in pop music. It tends to be on all the time. There's not a lot of change in feel. It tends to be more driving rhythm. And there are exceptions to that. But in classical music, you find this all the time. So do your listening work. And actually, it shouldn't be work. It should be fun. Okay. What else? Oh yeah. There's something a little interesting about this and the way he set it up. The whole exercise, etude, vocalise, is set up with this kind of march character to it. And then all of a sudden at the end, and it's all forte. It's all forte. And all of a sudden at the end, I find that very interesting because you get into a groove, and this is a problem we have to deal with all the time. You're kind of grooving along. Oh yeah, I got this. I got this style. Everything is lined up physically. It's fun. It's moving along, and all of a sudden the character changes. And you have to have tremendous agility, both in terms of your listening ear and your body's ability to respond to your musical imagination when that changes. When it goes to dolce, you're changing your tone of voice. You might be changing the color You're changing the inflection. You know, I hope you could hear some of those things. You hear the phrases? I'll play it again. So you want to be dolce all the way. Dolce double forte is challenging to do, and that's a wonderful thing to practice. Dolce pianissimo also, because you need to keep that quality. This is a very interesting challenge. So again, this is listening stuff, just being aware of those qualities, and I hope this is as much fun for you as it is for me. This is what keeps me going every day, is coming back to the music, finding the music, even in pieces that you don't like. So that you can convey that thought, that kind of human energy, that life that's in the music, to someone else. That's why we're doing all this work. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. I'll see you later on down the road, and I hope you join me once again. Thank you. Bye-bye.